So let's go Houston this week.
There you go. All right, we'll get to Joel Embiid in a second, but first, little Heat, little Warriors, little Derrick Jones Jr. skying for the two-handed alley-oop from Kendrick Nunn.
He will win the dunk contest, Nick.
Oh, he's your
Early.
pick.
It's my pick early.
Oh, I like it. A nice little 6-to-1 odds, Dwight Howard.
Long arms, Dominique Wilkins type dunks.
They put odds on who's going to win the dunk
Put
contest?
odds on everything, Jenna.
Oh, my God.
They have odds on whether or not you're going to call Jenny Taft Jenna Wolf today.
That's hilarious.
That's even money.
Let's see if I can just get through this highlight. Jazz Mavs, Bojan Bogdanovic putting the ball through Kristaps Porzingis' leg, sets up Rudy Gobert for the jam. Watch it again. Watch it. Whoop, whoop.
Oh! Little and one mixtape tour. Kids don't know what that is. Go find the DVD.
I got to foul him right there. I ain't going to let a guy do that. I'm fouling right there.
Just push him out of bounds.
Yeah, I got to get fouled. I ain't going to let him do that to me.
Lakers Suns, Cameron Johnson drives, delivers, big slam over JaVale McGee.
Ooh.
How about that? I think it was Cam Johnson. I'm trying to think if when he was drafted, if that's when Kobe White lost his mind, was so excited for him. North Carolina product. Look at Cam Johnson going up and getting it. Driving past AD, booming on JaVale. Not a lot of highlights last night for the Suns.
Yeah, even though they didn't play well, I kind of like the Suns roster.
More Lakers. Kyle Kuzma getting fouled. Somehow the ball finds the way into the basket.
All right, if this happens on NBA 2K, you feel like it's a glitch. Like he was passing. Well, this is the most odd and one of the season. Kuzma had a good all-around game yesterday, by the way. Played good defense.
When that go in right there, you got to act like you meant to make it.
That's a hard sell.
You love his hair, Twan?
I hate it.
Nick doesn't like his hair.
I hate it, too.
Yeah, no, because we're both grown-ups.
Yeah.
Moving on. The NBA trade deadline has come and gone, but it has not stopped the rumor mill from churning. NBA insider Brian Windhorst dropped this little nugget for us. Teams are preparing for the real possibility of the Sixers trading Joel Embiid, to which Embiid added fuel to the fire on Instagram, posting this picture with the caption, "You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Hashtag the process." His former teammate Jimmy Butler replied saying, "I know a place where villains are welcome." And Embiid simply replied, "Damn right, my brother." It's getting good. Nick, what do you make of this fiery exchange between, I guess, Joel Embiid and the world?
Yeah, I think this is an awful look for a player I like a lot in Joel Embiid. Every morning, Jenna, you ask our trusty statistician, Dustin Waite, to print you off the NBA standings. Who are the 4 or 5 seeds in the Eastern Conference right now as we sit here?
Right now, Miami and Philadelphia.
So they would be playing each other in the first round of these playoffs. Trade deadline's over, right?
Yeah.
So at the very least, Joel Embiid's a Sixer the rest of this year. And in theory, this Sixers team that has spent beyond the cap, that has multiple max-level players, that Embiid is the leader of, the best player on, the face of the process on. I know he probably feels they haven't built around him the right way, but they've attempted to build around him with him being the guy. You're out here flirting with your potential competition just to get to your real competition, the Milwaukee Bucks. Man, he's doing what KD did with the Warriors, but he's doing it publicly. KD at least had the dignity to text Draymond Green, not to post on his Instagram. Man, I hate this because I'm all for player empowerment, all for it. And I'd rather the guys that are the actual stars, the guys I pay to see, have the power rather than the faceless suits pulling the strings. But we're past the deadline. We're during the season. This team had legitimate championship aspirations this year. Even if we thought Milwaukee's better, the LA teams are better, Philly was next in line. And to right now simply make it appear like you're already plotting your next move, this isn't Karl Anthony Towns on a Timberwolves team that has 15 wins. You're having a disappointing season, but you're definitely going to be in the playoffs. You're definitely going to be a favorite in your first-round matchup, even if you're on the road.
And you're the face of your team.
And so I think this is a bad look for a guy I like a tremendous amount in Joel Embiid.
I think it's 2 parts to this. The first part, it is a bad look. We talked a little bit about who would you start a franchise with, or who would you keep between the two, Ben Simmons or Embiid. This is why I picked Ben Simmons. For reasons like this, his comments and how he's handled himself through adversity really bothers me. And then also for his career. And I said this, and Nick, you probably thought I was playing. He needs to go to the Miami Heat.
You actually think this would be a good move?
This would be a great move for him. His agent, if his agent can somehow get him to the Miami Heat, we will really see the real potential of Joel Embiid really become an MVP candidate. What Pat Riley, Eric Spoelstra, them guys can do for him, getting his body together, getting his focus on basketball, will change the whole dynamic of him. It would be a great move for him. I played in the Miami Heat system. The dedication, the work ethic that they put into guys working on their bodies. I saw it with Shaq. I saw it with D. Wade firsthand being there. I saw it with myself. It was hard for me to get in shape and that was the best shape I was in my life. You can go look at pictures and really look at that.
I believe you.
Yeah, so he needs to probably go to Miami. This would be probably great for his career. But he got to understand the workload that's going to come along with that every single day. And then I look at, if Jimmy wanted to stay and thought you was that type of guy, he would have signed back with it as a free agent. So Embiid has to think about those things because y'all were together. You could have been together for a long time. They were out for Jimmy Butler the max to start this summer off, and he didn't decide not to want to play with you. So those are some of the things he has to think about. You got a good team. They've built this team around you. They believe in you in Philly, and now that's the wrong place. That's a fan-driven place. That's the wrong place to start sending bad messages for the rest of the season.
If we think Joel Embiid can get his most upside by going to a place like Miami, does that in turn mean Ben Simmons being the only guy, not having to share the spotlight, perhaps you get more of his upside staying in Philadelphia?
Oh, well, listen, I think just Ben Simmons and Joel, the fit doesn't work great. So Ben Simmons should be on a team where you do not have a big man because Ben Simmons needs to essentially be your big man even if he's orchestrating the offense. It's why I said, and I don't know if this trade was there to be made, but this summer, D'Angelo Russell plus the Warriors pick would be the trade I would be trying to make if I'm Golden State for Ben.
For Ben Simmons.
Because that is the perfect system for him, the perfect fit. You have all the shooting in the world. He can orchestrate things. So, yeah, I think Ben's game would reach another level if Joel weren't there. We see it in the games when Joel's out already. It doesn't mean you'd be better than you are with Joel because this is the disappointing thing. Last year, Joel Embiid was 28, 14, and 4 with 2 blocks a game and was 7th in MVP voting. Was a Kawhi Leonard rattled around shot from potentially going up against Giannis in the Eastern Conference Finals. And I think a lot of us thought if Giannis re-signs with Milwaukee, it's going to be Embiid and Giannis battling for Eastern Conference supremacy for the next half decade. Giannis continued to improve. He won the MVP. He is better than he was last year somehow. His team was the 1 seed. They are better than they were last year somehow. Joel Embiid went from 28, 14, and 4 to 23, 12, and 3. His percentages went down. His minutes per game went down. His field goal percentage went down. The wins went down. That is so disappointing for a guy who I thought going into the year, Antoine, was a dark horse MVP candidate.
Yeah, he has to really look himself in the mirror. It's nobody really to blame. You know what you get when you're playing with Ben Simmons. Obviously, Ben Simmons don't have the shooters around him. With J.J. Redick and Jimmy Butler being gone really hurts them because those are 2 guys that can score the basketball. But for Joel Embiid, he has to realize, look, if they're going to build this thing around me and if I'm going to be dominant, I got to change my game up a little bit. I'm a guy that shot the 3. I like the fact that he's just a 3. He has to be more dominant inside, make himself he's obviously the best big man right now, even in the Eastern Conference, even with the numbers that he's putting up. But he can be more dominant. I think you got to have somebody on their team. I thought Al Horford could be that guy to maybe push him to get to the max's ability out a little bit better. But he has to figure out better ways to score the basketball. He's relying too much heavily on the jump shot, and that's costing him. You got to get back on the block, use your body, and use some of that God-given talent you got on that block to be the best player in the Eastern Conference and dominate. Because for whatever reason, Ben Simmons is not going to shoot a jump shot.
Right.
And that's going to continue to hurt them. And this match may not, the pairing of them 2 guys may not be very good just because he's unability to shoot the basketball and unwilling to even take a 15-footer. That really bothers, and that hurts Embiid.
And I'm sure that's frustrating for Joel. And if this summer Joel were to say, you know what, I've given Ben all the patience I can give him. We have a ceiling with the 2 of us together, so I would like to move on elsewhere. I would not begrudge him that. If what he did publicly with Jimmy Butler 3 days after the trade deadline, he did a little more privately with his agent, with Elton Brand, and said, I think it's time for a clean break here, I never criticize guys for that. But to post-trade deadline during a playoff race openly flirt about your next destination with someone you very well likely would play in the postseason, that to me is really disappointing for a guy who, coming into the year, I thought you had a really strong argument. Okay, he has gotten better each year. Last year was the best year of his career by far. He could be a top 3 MVP candidate. He could carry the Sixers to real contention with Milwaukee. Instead, the Sixers are in contention with Indiana for the 6th seed. Like, come on, that's not where they should be.
He's also only in the second year, right, of his max deal right now. It seems like you'd want to at least play that out, see where you are. The city committed to you, commit yourself back. But
well, some guys go public to get out of certain situations. That's unfortunate the way the league is now. We've seen it now with some of the superstars in the league. When they want out, they go public, and they don't handle it the right way because there's some other guys in that locker room that are fighting with you, that are trying to, obviously make a championship run. So it's unfortunate because you hate to see the superstars make these type of outbursts like this.
Hell, but even if it wouldn't have been great, I would have had a much smaller problem with this if you'd done it 1 week ago. Because in theory, then at least, if you really, really want out, at least do it when maybe you could get out. This is your team for the next 30 games in the postseason. Everyone knows it. And I don't care what you text Jimmy Butler privately, but to put it on the gram so everyone knows it, I just think I think it's an immature move from a player I root for, and I like a tremendous amount. I just hate this.
Great talent.
Yeah.
We got to take a break. Coming up, why does Robert Kraft want Tom Brady to test free agency? That's next on First Things First.